When you think of a cruise ship, what's the first thing that pops into your head? For most of us, it's this massive, majestic ship just gleaming white against a super blue ocean, right? It's the classic picture. But have you ever actually stopped and asked, why? Why that color? Well, let's get into it, because the answer is this really cool mix of science, a little bit of history, and some very clever strategy.
So right off the bat, let's challenge that idea. Because while, yeah, that classic white look is everywhere, it is absolutely not a hard and fast rule. In fact, some of the most recognizable ships on the planet are doing their own thing entirely.
Just look at the Disney magic. I mean, this design is a total throwback to the golden age of ocean liners. You've got the sleek black hull, the white top, and of course, those famous red funnels. And you better believe those colors are no accident. They're designed to look just like Mickey Mouse. So yeah, clearly white is not the only game in town.
But there's a really powerful, really scientific reason why most cruise lines do stick with white. And it all comes down to some basic physics that, we probably all learned back in science class.
Remember this? Sunlight is made up of a whole rainbow of colors. Now, a black surface, it just soaks up all of those colors, all those wavelengths, and turns that light energy into heat. But a white surface, it does the exact opposite. It bounces all of that light right back. So what does that mean for a giant metal ship that's just floating around in the hot tropical sun all day? Well, it means that a simple coat of white paint can reflect a staggering 80 to 90% of the sunlight that hits it. Just think about that for a second. Almost all of the sun's intense heat is literally being deflected off the ship instead of getting absorbed into its metal structure. And this is the perfect way to think about it. That white paint is basically a giant layer of sunscreen for the entire ship. By bouncing all that heat away, it keeps the inside of the ship way, way cooler. And that means the air conditioning systems don't have to work nearly as hard, which saves an incredible amount of energy and, you guessed it, a whole lot of money.
But here's the thing, ships weren't always white. And to really get why they changed, we gotta look back at their ancestors, the old school ocean liners that used to rule the seas.
Okay, now this is where it gets really interesting, because it all came down to practicality. Those old ocean liners, the steamships, they ran on coal. We're talking tons and tons of black, grimy city coal being loaded right into the hull. So, painting the hull black, it was just common sense. It hid all the dirt and grime. Plus, a lot of them were crossing the chilly North Atlantic, so soaking up a little extra heat wasn't exactly a bad thing. But modern cruise ships, they're sailing in sunny, warm climates with much cleaner fuel. They have the exact opposite problem they need to solve.
So, beyond the whole science of heat, there are a bunch of other super practical reasons why white is the go-to color for these floating cities. It's a choice that's really rooted in safety, maintenance, and, of course, the bottom line.
Let's just run through these real quick. First, visibility. A giant white object is just plain easier to see out on the ocean, day or night. That helps reduce the risk of collisions. For the maintenance crews, think about it. Having one main color is a logistical dream. And this is a big one. Any sign of trouble, like a rust streak or a crack, it just pops against a white background. And finally, white paint just holds up better against the constant brutal sun, so it fades a lot slower than darker colors do.
And hey, let's not forget about the cost. This quote, it's from a painting contractor talking about an office building, but the idea is exactly the same. When their client wanted 22 different bright colors, instead of just a few standard ones, the price tripled. Now just imagine that price tag, but scared up to a 100,000-ton cruise ship. All of a sudden, sticking with white isn't just about how it looks, it's a huge financial decision.
Okay, so we've got the science and we've got the practical stuff. But there's another layer to all this, and it's a little more subtle. See, cruise lines aren't just selling you a trip. They're selling you a feeling, an entire experience. And color plays a huge part in that.
I mean, think about it. On a subconscious level, we associate white with things like cleanliness, purity, and even luxury. It just feels crisp and premium. It's the color of big celebrations, like weddings and holidays. It puts you in that vacation mode before you even set foot on the ship, and it looks amazing against the tropical blue water in all the ads.
All right, so we know why they use white paint, but what exactly is this stuff? This brilliant, super durable white paint? Well, it turns out there's one superstar ingredient that really makes it all possible.
So meet the hero of our story. titanium dioxide, or TiO2. This stuff is the most popular white pigment on the entire planet, and for very good reason. It's not just that it's white, it's incredibly effective, and its unique properties make it perfect for surviving in a harsh marine environment.
And here's the crucial thing. TiO2 does so much more than just look pretty. It has what's called hiding power, which means it gives you a solid, really opaque finish. It's super resistant to UV radiation, which we already know is a huge deal. It also creates this protective barrier against corrosive salt water, and it even has properties that help stop things like barnacles from growing on the hull. This stuff is a true multitasking marvel.
So after looking at all of this, from the physics of sunlight to the grime of old coal ships, from budgets and safety to the psychology of a vacation, what's the final verdict? Which one is the real reason cruise ships are white?
The truth is, it's a perfect storm of all of them. It's a tradition that was born out of a historical shift away from coal. It's reinforced by the hard science of keeping cool, and it's all cemented by smart financial, safety, and marketing strategies. That gleaming white cruise ship isn't just an aesthetic choice, it's a really masterful piece of engineering and design.